Kuhn is the fullback with the first and goal. Kuhn gets the ball. Pyle trying to get his way in for the touchdown. What a great second effort. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. I said so. I keep big bills up in my heart on the dirty like blood. So ain't got no twist in my head, but I'm still dreadful.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Fantasy Fullback Dive, brought to you by the good people at the Roto Street Journal, acting as your lead blocker to fantasy glory, acting as your paver of the ways for fantasy excellence. Sorry, we took a show off, and I'm a little rusty. I'm your host, Nat the Truth Jones. With me, as always, the Wolf of Roto Street himself. When we saw that terrible, and I mean terrible, underlined, capital letters, that Broncos game last week when they were playing, who were they playing against? It was so terrible. The Colts, right?
Oh, the Colts.
Broncos, Colts. One of the worst games I've ever seen. And people kept saying, wait till next Thursday when the Commanders are playing the Bears. Well, we're here.
You thought it couldn't get worse.
We're here, everybody. I'm your host, Now the Truth Jones. With me, as always, the Wolf of Roto Street himself. And we're going to try to get you excited for this doozy of a Thursday night matchup. How you doing, Wolf?
See, I actually truly think this one cannot be worse than last week. That was truly
the
worst game I've ever watched.
It's impossible.
I think both of these defenses are atrocious. I know the Bears' offense is absolutely abysmal. I wouldn't be shocked, though, to see a little bit. Like, we'll hit our betting lines preview in a second, but we do have to hit a super chat first before we even get on air. I know you're going to hit that. We have Brian Robinson we're going to preview in a sec, too, because I know a bunch of your questions will probably come in for the fact that he's starting. But, yeah, I'm actually kind of excited about this game. As shitty as it is on paper, I think it's going to be like a good slap fest, like a fun slap fest. Last week was tear your eyes out slap fest. This is going to be a fun one. I just have a feeling in my bones.
I really don't want you to be wrong. I mean, I really want it to be good. I want it to be entertaining. Even if it's bad football, I'd love to see some back and forth offense. I don't know. Like you said, you'd have to show me something worse than that game last week. It was the worst thing I've ever seen.
It was
so
bad.
We're going to get into it right away. Like the Wolf said, we got Brian Robinson, kind of the hot name for this game, coming back. We saw a little bit of him last week. Obviously got shot a bunch of times in the preseason and, seemed well on his way to maybe being the Redskins RB1. And so we're going to talk about him because he is back, and that's who a lot of the questions are about. Before we do that, we have an unprecedented, before we even went on the air, super chat, and it's coming from across the pond, everybody.
Hell yeah.
Ryan Hemmings for £4.49. Says, my dude, in a sticky Thursday night football spot in some leagues, PPR, do I start Samuel or Myers, assuming T. Higgins is out? Also, Fields or Jimmy G as my super flex. Also, Kmet and Everett. What do you think, Wolf? Getting right into it. Thanks for the super chat, Ryan.
Thanks so much, Ryan. We really greatly appreciate it. Good to see my man. I know you're always here with us Thursday, but right off the top, kicking it off for us. Greatly appreciated. Good question, too. After we've seen Myers top a 30% target share in multiple weeks. He started through 3 weeks with over 30% target share. So he's seeing nice and steady volume. The thing is Curtis Samuel is also seeing great, healthy volume each and every week. I prefer Samuel very slightly just because he's also getting carries. Now with Brian Robinson here, probably going to cap up to 2-3 max in the ground game for Samuel, but that's not where he's most valuable anyways. We've seen just about every single week 10 targets or more for Curtis Samuel. He's leading the team in targets, team in receptions. He's actually, if not mistaken, third in total touches among wide receivers right now. And I know the last couple of weeks have not been pretty, but no Jahan Dotson tonight. So it's going to be another concentrated target tree. Yes, I know Diami Brown will hit his name in a little bit. He did blow up just a week ago, but still, that was on 3 routes. Like, he just got deep. He blew it up. He went crazy. So I'm putting my faith in Curtis Samuel. 11, 9, 10, 7, 8 targets. So I think with more red zone upside, yes, we did see, of course, Jacoby Myers score last week. I like them both. They're both kind of the same play. You're betting on volume. I like Curtis Samuel just a little bit more. I think he's a little more explosive, can do more with his touches than Jacoby Myers. What about you, Truth? It is really close.
I agree. I would definitely lean Samuel. I would even say maybe not quite as close as you are. I would say fairly decisively to Samuel. Obviously, I see the pitfalls for both guys, but he just has been targeted an awful lot. So that's who I would be rolling with between those two guys.
I know it is tricky with Myers coming off 111 yards and a touchdown. That was also against the Lions. And I'm not like, overly concerned. I feel like he's kind of matchup proof. That slot role for the Pats has just always been so fortuitous. Cleveland's not a good defense either. So, I mean, it is tough. You do got to trust your gut, Ryan, but I do like Samuel a lot. All year I have, and I think this is another good spot for him. The Bears are just abysmal all over the field. I could see him easily finding the end zone tonight. So, yeah, I'm going Curtis. 23rd in my wide receiver rankings, Myers 28. So it's close, but I do like Samuels a lot tonight.
What about Fields and Jimmy G?
Oh, is that the other question? Oh, man. So I'm deciding that myself. I have a shitstorm of a decision, Ryan. It's Carson Wentz. It's Jimmy G. It's Justin Fields, or it's Kenny Pickett is who I'm deciding on. I think right now I'm leaning Jimmy G. Now, this is the classic, and I don't want it to come off as a non-answer, but it is the truth in terms of, do you need floor? Do you need ceiling? Are you the underdog right now? Or are you the favorite? Or are you in a 50-50 battle? If it's 50-50 or you're a favorite, you got to go Jimmy G. Atlanta, safe play. I'm really big into him. That's probably where I'm leaning myself too, because I am the favorite heading into the week. It's a bottom tier team I'm facing. I'm number 2 in the league. Like, I'm going to go for safety. I do want to emphasize, though, Fields was a 50-yard touchdown call back on kind of a shitty call away from 28 points last week. He had a brutal first 4 weeks. It's been abysmal. It's terrible. I was nervous to go either Thursday night guy. I have both at my disposal, and I'm just like, I know I said at the beginning I could see it being a fun game. There's also a chance I'd be breaking my TV at halftime, just furious with myself for starting somebody in this probably going to be a real shit fest too. So I'm leaning Jimmy G. It's Atlanta, horrible pass rush, and Jimmy G, when he's at his best, is with a clean pocket. I've got some stats later in higher, lower Hail Mary. I'll hit why he's a good play, especially when he's got a clean pocket. But over Fields, I think that's the safe, smart. Plus, there's a little bit of ceiling too. So I'm going to go Jimmy G. What about you, Truth?
I also would lean Jimmy G. Look, Jimmy G's a better quarterback, but if you need 30, like you said, Fields is probably more likely to get that. And I mean, it's not about who's a better quarterback. I mean, Fields, I don't think is a good quarterback at all, but we've seen him. He's got the Konami upside. Maybe you want to go that way. Last but not least, real quick, Kmet or Everett?
Well, that last and least. Very, very
right. I mean, this one I feel pretty strongly about as well. But
you're not going Cole Kmet. I mean, his season highlight of the year was 4 catches and 45 yards. He hasn't topped 6.5 PPR points is his high. 0-0 in multiple weeks. Like,
we agree.
Gerald Everett, I'm a little bit worried about. He is my lower tight end.
I'm not so worried about him that I'd be putting him in under Cole Kmet. So look, the first two kind of tough, Ryan. That one not tough at all. Real quick before we get into the meat of the show, we got a $9.99 super.
Thank you guys so much, Kevin. Very generous.
Kevin says thanks for the trade advice this week. Wolf, Hurts owner, looking to next week. I'm also a Hurts owner, so I'm listening closely to this. Do we stash/ride Winston against Cincy next week? What do you think? Thanks, boys.
See, thanks for the support. Much appreciated. Doesn't Winston face Cincy this week? Aren't they facing the Bengals? Or am I?
Yeah, because I just picked up Cincy's defense to go against the Saints.
Right, exactly. So no, I don't know. I think, if you're looking ahead to the future, I don't know who Winston has this week, but there's no way in hell you're ever playing Winston over Hurts. So I'm trying to understand the question, Kevin.
I think he's just wrong about who he's playing next week. I just think he's wrong about that. Kevin, since you gave us a super chat, shoot us another question. And we'll answer it for you later in the show, okay?
What you're going for here, my man, because I want to make sure to give you a good answer. Very generous super chat here. I certainly am not benching Jalen Hurts for Winston ever in my life. Like, that would be
no. He's not saying that.
And
he's
can't
just
imagine
wrong about who they're playing.
Right. So if we're probably looking ahead to next week, I don't even know. I don't know the matchups quite yet. If you could give me like some of the streaming options, that's never a bad idea to get ahead rather than getting a chase on the waiver wire fab bids. So let me know some of the available quarterbacks and who they're playing, Kevin. We'll keep our eyes peeled while I rip through some of this news underneath here for your Kevin. So he's got Arizona next week, and that is a good spot too. But
yeah,
Kevin,
I like that a lot more.
That's certainly a nice spot. I could see Winston lighting him up. You got the Taysom Hill just vulture though for everybody, for Kamara, for the quarterbacks. So I'm not in love with Jameis Winston. I would love to know what other options are there and who their matchups are. If you don't mind just spitting out a few more available guys, and we'll just kind of keep checking back for that. I know you'll be here for the show, Kevin.
Sure.
So we'll look at that once we get through like the Thursday night matchups. We'll try to pick yours out one more time. Thank you for the support. I'd like to just know what other streamers are available for you next week.
All right, let's get into the Thursday Night Football news and game preview. We're getting in a little late, but we appreciate the super chats all the time, so thank you very much. We're looking at a spread, ladies and gentlemen, of +1. Commanders +1 at the Bears. Over under 37.5 points. Wolf, what are you thinking on this one?
See, I like the Commanders tonight.
Yeah, I do too.
+1. I don't even think you need the points. Like the Bears are just really, really bad. I know they have the better record here, 2-3. But one stat I found that was absolutely insane here. Carson Wentz might be the best Thursday night football quarterback in NFL history. I couldn't believe
I saw
this.
that too.
And this is why I'm also like, shit, do I play Carson Wentz tonight? I don't know. 6 games. He's 6-0 on these games. In those 6 games, 15 touchdowns, like almost 3 touchdowns a game, 1,443 yards, only 2 interceptions. Like Carson Wentz just morphs into some different being for these games. It's a trend. Obviously, that doesn't mean it's guaranteed to continue forward, but for whatever reason, Carson Wentz has been an absolute monster on Thursday nights. I just think this offense can do so much more. I think with Brian Robinson now potentially churning out the clock, they're 4-0 since week 1 against the spread, straight up. Like Commanders have not been a good bet. They're 5-8-1 as road underdogs since 2020. So again, there's lots of like trends against them, other than the fact that Carson Wentz has been good on Thursday nights, and I just think the Bears fucking suck. So yeah, I'm going to go Commanders with the points. 37.5. It seems like an easy under. Thursday nights, Ben pretty much just hit the under, and you're going to go for it. And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked, though, if we did get a game that hit like 52 points. I know that's crazy.
I'd be shocked.
You know what? I would be too, just because the Bears, like, they bleed clock. They're like a worse Cleveland Browns. They don't put up points.
And it's not like they're going to put up their 24 or something.
Yeah,
like
I'm hitting the under.
Like
I'm trying to create the narrative in my mind to get excited for it. It's not going to happen. Like, the Bears bleed clock, but don't put up points. Commanders will probably put up. I could see them hitting 21 or so. I just don't have faith that the Bears keep up at any point. So yeah, I'm going to go Commanders under. What about you, Truth?
I agree. This is one of the rare times that we agree on both the team and the spread and the over under. I'm with you, Commanders and the under. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk. We alluded to Brian Robinson. That's the guy. That's the name. If you want to call him a sexy name, he's the guy that is popping up more than anyone else as far as starting Thursday Night Football. Everybody wants to know, do I plug him into my lineup? The potential's there. Like, we obviously know what he can do. Is he ready? Is it time to put him into your lineup and let the chips fall where they may? What do you think, Wolf?
It's a great question. And it obviously, of course, depends on your team. I'd be slightly hesitant. I'd love to get a tryout week and see what he does. But I also understand it is bye weeks. We got a lot of guys, Jacobs, Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, out of lineups for week 6. So if you're looking for some volume, I really think the Commanders are just foaming at the mouth to give Brian Robinson this job. They eased him in last week, but even still, he was the carry leader with 9 carries compared to just 3 for Gibson. They hate Gibson. They don't want to use him at all if they don't have to. And that was already evidence in Robinson's first game back after, again, getting shot. He was the lead back in terms of carry share. He was the lead back, 29% of the snaps, but 63% of the attempts. He also ran 11% of the routes. So not even just completely two-dimensional here. He also saw 43% of the short yardage snaps. Now, remember back to preseason, before the injury with Brian Robinson, it was clear he was taking over. 225-pound bull, just getting raved about, big, strong, powerful downhill runner, according to Rivera. Gibson a little more elusive off the edge, but Brian takes it inside, can also take it off the edge too. Now, remember, Gibson last year, 6th most red zone attempts with 43, and 6th inside the 10, 25 carries. I think all that work goes to Robinson. This is a team that likes to run it in the red zone. That's why Gibson's been a low-end RB1 the past 2 years, 7th inside the 5 carries as well, tied, on a team, again, with Taylor Heineke. I know Carson Wentz does kind of suck, but this offense has been a much more quote-unquote explosive attack with him. They put up 350 passing yards. Like, they have moved the ball fairly well in the middle of the pack in total scoring. I think he's going to get all the goal line touches, Brian Robinson. I think they're going to have no problem getting into the red zone against the Bears, who are giving up top 6 numbers to running backs already in fantasy. I could see a 2-touchdown day. I could see him approach 100 yards. He's actually my captain in DraftKings tonight. If you're doing the showdowns, he's 6,600 normally. I put him in the captain at around 9K, saved up some money. I think the guy comes out and has himself a big night. Now, I have like Jeff Wilson on my fantasy team in my flex right now. I'm not putting Robinson over him.
Exactly where I'm at. I got Wilson in my flex. If I had Robinson, it all depends who you got. I would not be starting Robinson now, not because I don't believe in him necessarily, but I just randomly happen to have 3 better options in my opinion.
Exactly. And I'm lucky. I know I'm kind of blessed in that sense, because it's very rare, especially during, like I said, these bye weeks, that you have 3 solid running back options. I do right now, so I'm not benching Jeff Wilson for a Robinson. But again, let us know. Like last week, a lot of Nyheim Hines questions, and we were pretty sturdy on bench the guy. We did not. I don't know if there's actually a single one, and he got hurt. I know, like, not celebrating an injury. I don't feel that way about Robinson. Like, I feel Robinson could be a real steady, solid play. So again, let us know in the questions if you have a Robinson one. We'll get to the mailbag in about 35, 40 minutes as we rip through our preview show here. Of course, Super Chats we will hit first, as you guys noticed right at the top here. So if you have a Robinson-specific question, Thursday Night Football-specific question, let us know. But again, I really, really like this guy tonight. I think they want nothing to do with Gibson. I know McKissick will get the passing down work, but I think a positive game script against a bad run D, I think it's a good night for Robinson. I have to double check where I have him in my rankings, but the more I talk about him, the more excited I get. So,
I know you are getting more and more worked up as you talk. I can tell. Real quick, this is a $2 quick super chat. It's not Thursday Night Football related, but thanks anyway. Michael Fawcett. Real quick, Travis Etienne or Eno Benjamin to replace Derrick Henry.
Oh, it's got to be Eno Benjamin, assuming that James Conner and Darrell Williams, I think both have actually been ruled out at this point. So, yeah, it's the Eno Benjamin show. I'll talk more about him later tonight. I love the play. But facing a Seattle defense, only Houston's given up more rushing yards on the ground. He already was involved as a receiver. You're getting a 3-down back, the second highest over-under game. That has actually been pretty impressive. I haven't been a big Eno Benjamin guy throughout his career, but this season he looks like he's got it in a different gear. The coaching staff truly trusts him, and there's just nobody else. They're calling up the rookie Keontae Ingram, but I wouldn't be shocked to see 20, 25 touches against a really, really bad defense. He's a top 20 running back play for me this week. Big fan of Eno Benjamin.
All right, getting back into Washington news, we already talked about Carson Wentz and what a prolific Thursday Night Football player he's been. He's obviously off the injury report. He will be going. Don't have to go into that anymore. He's there. Diami Brown, groin. We love groin injuries, except we hate them. They suck.
Yeah.
He's listed as questionable for week 6. They say he is expected to play. That is the type of injury that can really kind of hamper your mobility, stuff like that. Don't know what your depth looks like there, but that would at least be a little bit of a concern for me. How about you?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a concern, but the fact that he was quickly ruled in today, this is a guy that did some real damage. 2 catches, 105 and 2. Only on 32% of the snaps, like 25% of the routes. Wasn't a great usage standpoint, but they're clearly looking for a big play threat. You got to imagine with the way he performed last week, we see that get a little bit of an uptick. He was, again, behind Cam Sims, who didn't even see a target, though. So that's why I'm not sitting here sweating. Wouldn't be shocked at all. Their second-round rookie last year, he performed the best he's ever performed in his NFL career. And with Dotson probably back in a week or two, this is really their last shot to get another good look at him. So I don't mind Diami Brown. I wouldn't be putting him in most regular season redraft lineups. But again, DraftKings Showdown, I think he was at like 4K. Pretty cheap, explosive deep threat. I wouldn't be shocked to see him score at least one more deep bomb against a secondary that just isn't good and is kind of banged up right now too. So I don't mind him. I think he's in play in like DraftKings, underdog, like those type of situations. Not regular season really, but yeah, not bad. I think you could go to him if you really need something.
All right, next on the news list, Logan Thomas, calf issue. I'm just going to come right out and say it. I hate Logan Thomas. He's out for week 6 against the Bears. I hate him. I don't care that he's out. I had him briefly. I dropped him. He will not be playing. Obviously, that opens the door for second-year tight end John Bates, who caught 3 targets out of 3 balls. Caught all 3 of his targets for 39 yards, but he only played 59% of his team's snaps. Probably not too excited about him. Guy you might be excited about, though, right?
No, I'm not excited about him at all.
No, I said a guy who you might be excited about is Jahan Dotson, but he's out also for week 6 against the Bears. So that sucks.
Would be very excited if he'd been playing, but yeah, I still think the guy's got league-winning upside. I've seen him get cut in a bunch of leagues. Go check before Thursday night. You can slide him into your IR spot if he's out there right now. He's going to have a nice stretch run. The kid's been he's already had a nice start to the year. Clearly trusted in the red zone, clearly trusted deep. Big Jahan Dotson fan. So if he got dropped by an impatient owner, go scoop him up ASAP.
Last but not least on this, N'Keal Harry, ankle injury. He was removed from the week 6 injury report. He will play against the Commanders. Does that get you excited at all, Wolf?
No. I mean, $200 on DraftKings. Again, a lot of these notes are
$200, really?
$200. So like the bare minimum. So I actually have him in one of my showdown slates just to save some salary and get paid up otherwise. Because, man, maybe he does catch a touchdown. They are desperate for wide receiver help there with the Bears. He's got a big red zone body. So maybe he's a pump play for you. But, man, not a big fan at all. Just for record-keeping sake, I bumped Brian Robinson up. I'm looking at my rankings here, and I'm trying to debate. So maybe we can work this one out together, Truth.
Okay.
Like Brian Robinson, Kareem Hunt. Tough one, right?
Yeah. I mean, I might lean Robinson, but I feel like it's like a little bit like I want to like have some action going tonight. I don't know. What do you think?
I have him 23-24. That's where he slid in. Like,
Shit.
I have Hunt just a bit higher, second. Like he's got more red zone touches than Nick Chubb so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a knock on Hunt. I mean,
not at all. Very talented guy. But you're right. Like getting the juice, getting some action.
I know that's not a good reason.
Robinson. I think he's a player. Like Robinson versus Najee, who's been a complete and utter shit bum this year.
Oh man.
You'd think your first round lock should be in, right?
I mean, it's like instinctively I say Najee, but I mean, Pittsburgh might. Do you think Pittsburgh might be the worst team in football? Maybe
they could be. I think Houston is, but they're clipping at their heels.
Houston beat somebody last week.
The Jags.
The Jags. People were trying to say the Jags were good for a little while there.
Yeah. No.
Crazy people. Right.
They came back crashing to earth. I think I go Robinson here. Dobbins, Zeke. Like if you're in that range, you want some Thursday night action. I don't think they're going to go back to Gibson. I could really see this being a Robinson night. And if they get
of those guys you just listed, I would probably go Najee over Robinson, but probably not the other two guys.
Yeah, AJ.
And I don't feel great about it. I don't feel great about it either, but I do have to hit publish, so this goes through tonight. I get my rankings in, so that is updated. Otherwise, tonight, like again, we mentioned Justin Fields in that super chat. He's got upside, but a lot of downside as well. Really not trying to go to that unless you're like a severe underdog. But I am intrigued to see what he does after his best game of the season. Was a 50-yard touchdown called back from having a 28-point day last week. So now the schedule's softening up. I'm intrigued to see what he does. Don't want any pass catchers. Mooney, making highlight play after highlight play, but it's good for one a game. So no interest there. Highlight play after highlight play, meaning like one a game, because that's all they're giving volume for at this point. Not trying to hype up him at all. Cole Kmet, as we mentioned, one catch for 8 yards or something. Give me a break.
Exactly. The one other guy though I wanted to highlight before we get into all the other week 6 stuff is I really do like Montgomery. If we have any questions out there on him, he's running back 18. I do have him above Robinson for tonight. He ended up walking right into 36 of the 50 snaps compared to just 14 for Khalil Herbert. Saw 18 carries, 18 routes too. Like very, very involved. 12 carries, 18 routes, 4 targets compared to 0 targets for Khalil Herbert compared to 4 carries for Khalil Herbert. Like people were worried, maybe this is back to a committee timeshare. Maybe Khalil Herbert even overtakes him because he looked pretty damn good in his starts. But no, it's clear this team is committed to Montgomery for the time being. And so I will be too in fantasy in my top 20 running backs this week, probably in my lineups against a pretty bad just overall Washington team. Could see him finding the end zone. So big fan of Montgomery tonight as well. Just wanted to make sure to get that out there. Let us know if you have any questions on it.
All right, we took a little longer on this. We thought we were going to get right into week 6 news general around the NFL. If you haven't already done it, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us some whatever currency your social media thing deals with. Throw it our way. We'd appreciate it. We're still getting more and more subs. We're slowly climbing towards 3,000, which is
I love it. Maybe by the end of the year, baby. Let's
I know,
get
maybe.
it.
Who would have thunk it? All right, let's get into quarterbacks. I'm going to start. We'll go back and forth real quick. Dak Prescott has said he felt, and this is a direct quote, great after throwing to receivers Wednesday. He did not practice Thursday, however. He had a thumb issue. Obviously, he was limited in practice today. I mean, he's not going to be ready for week 6, so don't get worried about that. The real question is moving forward beyond that. There's been people trying to create like a quarterback controversy between him and Cooper Rush. I don't buy it. Once he's back, once he's ready to play, they're going to play him, even though Cooper Rush has been, I'm sure, a pleasant surprise for Cowboys fans. Right, he's winning games. That's all you can ask for. So I expect Prescott back when he's ready. He's not going to be ready this week.
Doesn't seem that way, although he did get in that limited practice. If he gets in like a random full tomorrow, there's just a small chance. I would not obviously be planning on
I'm not touching him even if he is ready, but I don't think
probably
he's
not. It is a hand injury. That stuff gets sketchy. But just remember, Prescott, Kellen Moore together. Always been top 2 in points, total yards, passing scores. I mean, this is a prolific offense when that duo is healthy and good together. And Kellen Moore is a play caller. So I expect a much different, I know it's been a kind of slow, sluggish, bleed the clock and rely on our defense type of attack from this Cowboys. And it's been winning games with Cooper Rush. But I don't think they're going to just continue this just absolutely slow-paced nightmare offense once Prescott's back. Might be meet us in the middle, not the fast-paced, just lighting up the scoreboard team we're used to. But I still think Prescott. I've gotten some questions. He's on waivers. Do I pick him up now? Yes.
Yeah, pick him up.
Prescott probably, especially with quarterbacks, such a shitscape right now. I think Dak Prescott absolutely needs to be rostered, and you could probably get ready to start him as early as next week. We mentioned Winston already, given that it's a Week 7 outlook people were looking for. Getting the Cardinals, not a bad matchup. He was also back in limited fashion this Thursday, facing the Bengals, third fewest points allowed to quarterbacks. I really don't want to trust Winston. I do want to trust the Bengals defense, though, with him out there.
All right, moving to running backs. Jonathan Taylor, he of the number 1 overall pick, dealing with an ankle injury. He returned to practice on Thursday. He's been extremely underwhelming. I think everybody would agree, except week 1. He looked pretty good. So he got well enough to get on the field, but it is a limited session. So we're going to be checking him out Friday, see what his status is. Obviously, if he's ready to go, you're probably playing him.
You got to play JT. He's a top 10 running back anytime he's out there. Hopefully he's galloping like we once was. We'll see. It has, as you mentioned, been underwhelming, but it's JT. Buy low if you can at this point, because I think a lot of his owners are panicking. Go get him right now. We mentioned at the top, James Conner, he's going to be out week 6 and perhaps, quote unquote, some additional time, according to PFN's Aaron Wilson. He's sidelined, as was Darrell Williams for today's practice. Both guys will not be suiting up. That means Benjamin right into my top 20 running backs in a great smash spot matchup. Go pick. He's still only 57% rostered. Was one of the top pickups early on the week, but go check your waiver wire. A smash play at flex. I'd rather, comparing him to Brian Robinson, for example, I'd go Benjamin, just more catch upside, better matchup, better overall offense. So if that's what we're kind of looking at as potential streamers, give me over Brian Robinson.
Raheem Mostert coming off a knee issue, but also coming off a very strong game last week. I know I went against him, and he's probably the reason that I lost. Despite losing horribly to the Jets, he did pace the Dolphins running backs with 19 total touches. He says he's fine. He says he's going to be suiting up for Sunday's game against the Vikings. He seems like he's basically claimed that backfield for himself. We've seen flashes of brilliance and a couple of good plays out of Chase Edmonds, but right now it does seem like Raheem Mostert is the guy. So if he's ready to go, and it seems like he's going to be, you got to play him unless you just got a crazy deep running back situation.
I think, yeah. I mean, again, Benjamin probably above him, but again, I'd probably above Brian.
I don't
Robinson.
know, man. I don't know.
I think so. The thing is, but I mean, it is not quite as locked as I might have made it seem. 73% of the attempts last week. The big thing was a lot more of the down and distance work. 60% of that, 100% 2-minute. That's where Chase Edmonds was at least finding the end zone. But now we've got that going to Raheem Mostert. So I do definitely like the play. I would go Benjamin just because the matchup is so juicy. But yeah, nothing to worry about. If you have Mostert, definitely a solid RB2 flex play for sure. Broncos running backs. The number 1 matchup for running backs right now is the Chargers. Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone seem like they should be out there. Both were limited today. I just think it was kind of maintenance type days, though, for the guys that got a lot of work. I think both of these guys, especially Melvin Gordon, revenge game narrative, was the snap leader, touch leader, all that good stuff. Like him more, of course, than Mike Boone, but I wouldn't be shocked if Mike Boone at your flex puts up a decent day too.
All right. Speaking of which, Pat's running backs. By the way, I like Melvin Gordon as a play.
I really do too.
Pat's running backs. Damian Harris, hamstring issue. He was limited in Thursday's practice, and it seems that he is unlikely to be playing. A report came out that said he's probably going to miss multiple games. In other news, the Patriots signed running back Kevin Harris, and this is a direct quote. I'm not making this up. The copy says this is a move that strongly says, quote, Damian Harris won't be back soon. I tend to agree. He was a 6th-round pick last April's draft. It just looks like this is an insurance policy to make sure they got a running back throw out there. So I don't think you can bank on Damian Harris, and I don't really love Kevin Harris as a play, but who knows?
But you could love Ramondre Stevenson, folks.
You could. Oh, absolutely.
175 total yards last week, over 90% of the snaps. I mean, they had no other active running backs after Harris went down. Right. So I do wonder if Montgomery gets activated off the IR. Clearly, Kevin Harris is probably going to be there. So some other bodies will be there. But if it's just Kevin Harris, I think we get another 90% snap share of Ramondre. And either way, you're going to be smash starting him no matter what. Last note here was Justice Hill did make it back to practice for the Ravens. It's just another reason to be a little bit wary of J.K. Dobbins, who we'll talk about in higher, lower Hail Mary in a second. Moving to wide receivers.
T. Higgins, ankle injury. He remained sidelines for Thursday's practice. It was initially believed he would be limited on Wednesday, but he did not do enough to even earn that tag. As far as Thursday's status, he was on the rehab field, but he was wearing a hoodie. Never a great sign. He has played through questionable status tags in the past, but he is looking worse than 50-50 is what I'm reading here. He could end up a game time call for Sunday's 1 p.m. kickoff. That's a pretty big risk. Obviously, we love Higgins if he plays. He's looked spectacular. I'd be very, very cautious this week with him.
Yeah, especially after Sunday Night Football with the complete and utter donut.
Yeah.
I had a couple people write like painful bad beats, needed like one catch, like half a
Right,
point.
right.
And they
If
didn't
I get
win.
6 yards, I'm going to win.
Oh, I felt so bad when I saw some of those. But yeah, I mean, it just has to have you extra cautious here.
Hey, speaking of bad beats, so this is Keenan Allen coming up next.
Yeah, limited in Thursday's practice. He's been day-to-day for about a month and a half here and has not taken the field since. So definitely be cautious with him. It's a Monday night game. At least have Josh Palmer, DeAndre Carter, some kind of backup plan ready if you are planning to go with Keenan Allen, and keep him in your flex too, just to give you even like Josh Kelly maybe as a touchdown option should he not play and you were waiting for him, because he is worth waiting for, although it's a Denver matchup. Worst in terms of matchup for fantasy wide receivers right now. Probably not worth waiting it out for. I don't think he goes, but getting the limited session in gets you at least a little bit more optimism here.
Rashad Bateman dealing with that same foot issue. He was sidelined for Thursday's practice, and they're saying basically at this point, they're not expecting him on Friday, but even if he goes and he goes limited, that's probably not going to be enough to put him into the lineup on Sunday.
No, I'd be nervous too. Giants have actually been sneaky good against wide receivers all year. Just an actually sneaky good team. 4-1. I don't think they're a good team, but somehow they keep getting these wins. They're not, but they're winning. I don't know.
They're 4-1. I mean, what can I say? But no,
they beat the friggin' Packers after being down at halftime. I don't know.
Here's a secret. The Packers aren't good.
Packers suck. Yeah, maybe that's more so.
I've been on that train all year. Go ahead.
Saints wide receivers, a lot of updates here. Chris Olave was present at the portion of the practice open to the media.
What the hell does that mean?
Participating in football activities. It's certainly more than what we got from Jarvis Landry, and his ankle did not practice. Michael Thomas, his toe is still not practicing. It seems like Olave certainly has the best shot at playing here. And if he's out, then this offense could just, one, Alvin Kamara would see every target, probably every carry other than Taysom Hill. But two, I would have a really hard time trusting anybody besides those two.
Giants wide receivers, Kadarius Toney, still dealing with that hamstring issue. He was, quote, working outside with the trainers for Thursday's practice. Also, Giants preseason MVP, Wan'Dale Robinson, knee issue. He was limited in Thursday's practice. Robinson was a late out last week, but he does say, barring any setbacks, he's going to be ready to go this week. I'm not touching him until I see something positive on the field, personally.
100% no. You can't play either guy, but if either one in particular, it seems like Robinson, Wan'Dale will be out there, not a horrible bench tryout type of thing. So if you got the bench space, you got trash to cut. There's a bunch of good kickers that you could potentially pick up, from the Chargers to Jake Elliott. Like if you want to have no kicker and just see what happens for the 1 p.m.s, then cut him later if he sucks for your kicker, not a bad play. I did it with Alec Pierce on Thursday. Worked out quite well for me. Now that he's, everybody was bidding up high, already on my roster. Christian Watson, last receiver note here, was sidelined for Thursday practice. Clears the path a little bit more for Doubs. For Randall Cobb, he had 13 targets last week. For Alan Lazard, if one more body is out, just helps those guys. You're not using Watson anyways.
By the way, before we move on to tight ends, I was extremely flustered on my waivers betting last week. There was like 4 guys I was trying to get, and I didn't get any of them, but I did get Alec Pierce. I got one guy. So I did pick him up for a few bucks. So I'm happy about that one. You know who I picked him up for?
How much?
I dropped Allen Robinson for him.
Get rid of that shit bag. Love it.
I did it. Yeah, I hate it and I love it. If he goes off this week, do you have any idea how angry I'm going to be?
He's going to. You can't cut him. He's coming for you. Come for the judge.
Do you still have him on your team?
I have him in like a 16-team league, and I think I might even cut him there. It's like that's how bad
I just looked at him and I was like, I can't justify keeping this guy. Like, there's too many people on waivers.
It's a good locker room message too. I know I overstate it sometimes, but the fantasy locker room, it's important. And Allen Robinson is an absolute.
Well, my team got sent a message this week. Yeah. We'll see if they respond.
We'll see how they respond.
They're a pretty terrible team. Tight ends, Dawson Knox, foot issue, hamstring issue. He was limited in Thursday's practice. He has not been too exciting this year, and I know we both liked him going into the season. Right.
It's been rough. The touchdowns haven't been there, and that's really what the whole thesis was with Dawson Knox. Most explosive offense in the league, touchdown score, probably going to put up another double digits. I mean, he's going to have a lot of work to do if he's going to hit that this year. Pat Fryermuth has been the opposite of that, just much steadier yardage targets, 30% target share, multiple weeks this season. He's unfortunately not practicing. I did get a limited workout in yesterday, but then didn't practice today. So he's in the protocol. It seems unlikely that we'll get Fryermuth this week. At least have backup plans, folks.
Kyle Pitts. Why do these always fall to me? Kyle Pitts, hamstring issue. He's practicing Thursday. That's 2 in a row. Upgrade to full, obviously, on Friday would be nice, but it seems like even with a limited session, he might be ready to go for the game on Sunday. The good news is if you plug him in and he doesn't play, his stat line will probably be at least comparable to what it would have been if he did play. Yeah, man, I don't even know what to say about Kyle Pitts anymore. It's terrible because I have to keep rolling him out there basically, but I just hate it so much.
Yeah, let's hope he gets like 50% of the routes this week. My God, Arthur Smith. What was so asinine? I didn't even realize this until I was digging into the week 5 matchups. Kyle Pitts didn't play. So how does he respond? Drake London now gets put into 60% of the snaps.
Yep.
Why? Your best 2 receiver sets, like you cannot ever have them on for 95% of your snaps. And like Arthur Smith's doing creative things. It's an interesting offense because he's moving people around. He's getting people back, but he's not using his top 2 weapons. Like what? It makes no sense to me. I don't understand what the thought process is. And you think
what if Matt Stafford was just like, yeah, man, well, not Matt Stafford. McVay was just like, yeah, we're not going to use Cooper Kupp because that's what they think we're going to do.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you fucking idiot. Well, you should probably use him. He's the best receiver in the NFL.
Yes, exactly. Bucs tight ends Cam Brate was back on Thursday's practice. Probably weren't planning to use him, although he did have 11 catches. I saw a lot of targets the last couple of weeks. And then he got hurt, and Cade Otton really stepped up to an interesting role. 6 catches, 43 yards, ran the most routes, more so than Evans, more so than Godwin of that week. Was out there for 94% of the snaps. So if Brate did sit, Otton has some streaming upside, and there was some rumblings he might have a quote-unquote decent/growing role in this offense. Brady did go to him to convert a couple third downs, a couple contested throws. Like, you don't usually see Brady trust rookies. I'm intrigued by Otton. If you have some bench space, I wouldn't hate stashing the guy. He showed a whole lot more athleticism than Cameron Brate ever has. I like it. I like him a lot more than Brate. Let's put it that way.
All right, last but not least, fantasy news. A couple kickers. We don't usually talk about them, but Kingsbury has ruled Matt Prater out for the Cardinals for week 6. And Harrison Butker, he's going to kick against the Bills on Sunday, quote, as long as we don't have any setbacks. So obviously, if he's playing, you got to start him. If you got Prater, you're not starting him.
No,
Let's move on to our sponsor. No House Advantage. Wolf, what do you got to say about No House Advantage?
It's actually our last show with our guys, unless maybe we re-up. We'll see what happens. But, man, they've been kind to us. So you guys, please do consider checking out No House Advantage. If you are new here and haven't heard me read this, if you've been here a while, you've heard this exact spiel a few times. But I will promise you a lot of our users have won, again, over $1,000 already. Tons of overlay. It's changing the game, No House Advantage is, by offering the most dynamic fantasy sports platform available today. Playing pick'em contests versus other people for the shot at winning $250K plus in cash. Download the app, choose a contest, select your player props, and earn points for correct picks, and climb the leaderboard for your shot to win big money every day. You can also test your skills versus the house in 20 extra entry if you hit all of your picks. Bet on up to 5 player prop over-unders, individual player matchups across every major sport leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, MMA, and NASCAR. Sign up now with promo code RSJ at nohouseadvantage.com or download the app on the app stores to get a first deposit match up to $25. Make sure to check out No House Advantage today. Experience daily fantasy sports redefined, because it's not just how you play, but also where you play. You won't want to miss this out. Link is in the description. We'll pack again. It's code RSJ. Check those guys out if you haven't already. Users are winning tons of money through this app. It's just a great place to play. One advantage that they didn't tell us to advertise, but I want to advertise, is their lines don't change throughout the week. So you might see guys that start on like a Monday, but then their over-unders are like 15, 20, 30 yards more even sometimes. That doesn't happen on No House Advantage. They stay locked in. So that's where you find some really nice advantages, some really soft lines. Go check them out. No House Advantage, the app, the store site, nohouseadvantage.com, code RSJ, or the link in the description, folks.
All right, let's blow through higher, lower, and Hail Mary. I'm under the impression we have a pretty big mailbag. I don't see the number, but I do think we got a lot of guys out there. So
Can't
let's
wait.
do this.
Love that.
Thank you so much. Again, if you haven't given us a like or a subscribe, do it. Seems like there's a lot of people here watching us, which we love. So give us a little bit of love back.
So appreciated.
All right. Higher, Jimmy G at Atlanta. You got him as your quarterback 13. These are small discrepancies. So, maybe not tons of analysis behind him, but you do like him a little more than the experts. What do you think?
Yeah, again, we mentioned it at the top with that super chat. I like the matchup given that Atlanta is so bad at generating a pass rush. One of the worst, maybe the worst in the league. If you just watch the eyeball test, the quarterbacks just sit there all day in the pocket and pick them apart. Jimmy G is averaging 8.8 yards per attempt and has 4 of his touchdowns this year on clean pockets. Last year, that was very similar. 9.0 yards per attempt, 14 touchdowns on a clean pocket. So this is where Jimmy G thrives, picking teams apart, and there's no cleaner pocket than Atlanta, who also has a meh secondary. Obviously, these weapons, Kittle, Ayuk, Debo. We haven't seen huge days. The big risk is the way they want to win is on the ground, pounding and bleeding out clock. That could happen, and it could be very few plays run because Atlanta also likes to do the same thing on the other side of the ball. All in all, though, I think this could be that Jimmy G. It happens every year, like random 3 to 4 touchdown day when he just hits all of his weapons. This feels like a really big blow-up spot for Jimmy G and just a nice safe floor either way.
All right, lower, Russell Wilson.
Ugh.
I just feel like he perennially belongs on the lower list until the experts come around to the fact that the guy's just not very good anymore. Playing at the Chargers, QB 15. The experts still like him up at 12. So the experts still like him as a fringe starter in a 12-team lead. I just don't see it, man.
I don't get it at all. No, I'm completely out. This is his quarterback finishes on the year: 14, 24, 29, 3, and 24. Now, granted, that 3-point game, it was when they were down, they had to be chucking, and that could be the narrative for the Chargers. So if he's going to ever have a good day, this is the kind of setup for it. But I also think the Chargers so bad against the run that knowing Hackett, knowing how much they just love running it, I think that's obviously the way you attack this team. So it really comes down to, like, how does this game get started? Do the Broncos get the ball and just bleed a bunch of clock, score with the running back early? Because then you're just going to get another classic 25, like quarterback 25 finish from Russell Wilson. They get down big early. If Herbert's slinging, then maybe we do get a Wilson big day, but I'm not buying it. I'm certainly not starting him. Give me Jimmy G. Give me Carson Wentz tonight. I have no interest in putting Russell out there. Plus, again, bad locker room presence for your team.
Agree completely. Daniel Jones, you're also lower on. Probably not starting him either way, although who knows how your quarterback situation shakes out. He's going against Baltimore. You got him at 22. The experts have him up at 16. Why are you a little more down on Daniel Jones, except for the just painfully obvious reasons? Missing some weapons, among other things.
Everything. Weapons are bad. He's not very good. Like the Giants, yeah, wins. Baltimore has given up a lot, the most passing yards in the league. But guess what? That's not where Daniel Jones gets his fantasy stats. 188, 176, 196, 71, season high 217 yardage. It doesn't matter that this team gives up a ton through the air because that's not how he's going to score. Maybe the legs come through, but if you're banking on legs, go for Justin Fields, a plus athlete in a better matchup tonight. Like he's only had 2 games above quarterback 20, only 1 game above quarterback 16. And again, it came on the back of 2 rushing touchdowns. So I'm not into this play at all. I don't get why so many people are recommending Danny Jones as a stream. Not for me, folks. There's way better options in my opinion.
No chance. And Hail Mary, you got Kenny Pickett going against the Bucs. 15% rostered. Who? Kenny Pickett?
Over freaking Daniel Jones.
Oh, yeah. Over Daniel Jones. Yeah, I'll just say, like, I do not expect Kenny Pickett to get anything done. I know this is your Hail Mary pick, so, I mean, I'm not going to hold that against you too much. But, yeah. You see the Steelers last week?
I did, and I'll tell you this. This is what I saw.
What'd you see?
Why I like it. A whole lot to hate about the Steelers. No doubt about that. Cannot argue with you there. But what I did like fantasy-wise is that defense is abysmal. They are atrocious. And sure, it was the Bills, and the Bills just murder like everyone they play. But the Bucs will do that same thing to them too. Great, create that narrative.
Maybe. I don't know. The Bucs
they're
offense.
So bad.
Yeah, they are. But the Bucs. How many times have the Bucs scored like not very many points this year? Like a lot of times.
The only time they've had all their receivers out there, they've been more than okay. And this is
okay.
The Bucs are going to put up their points. This is going to be probably 28-35 or so from the Bucs.
Okay.
Now you got that shootout narrative. You got to play catch up. You got to the D-backs are back a little bit so you can kind of dink and dunk down the field. We just saw Pickett go 327 on the Bills, the best pass defense in the league. Fewest points allowed to quarterbacks. No other quarterback had gone for over 240 on them. Stafford in week 1 was the season high. No other quarterback had even gone over 200, including Tua, including Lamar Jackson. Kenny Pickett had the best day of any quarterback so far against this defense. I think the kid can play. I saw the ball come out quick. I saw him making his reads quick. He was under duress all day, but he's moving around in the pocket. Like, I just genuinely like what I saw from Kenny Pickett. And whether you play him or not, I like to stash him because his schedule down the stretch is a cakewalk. I wouldn't be shocked if he's like Justin Herbert rookie season light. Remember, he came in, had a couple sketchy games, but then lit up the rest of the league. I think there's this upside with a bad defense, a team that, again, first and fourth in pass attempts with Big Ben's corpse the last 3 years. They were chucking it anyways. The defense is even worse. So I think 50 pass attempts will be the norm. This guy can get it done with, again, over 300 yards. His first start. You add a couple touchdowns to that, and it's looking like a real good day. And I think the Bucs defense, yes, they're good, but they're no Bills. I think we can get 2 scores, probably 2 interceptions, but 300 yards to go with it. At least he's feeding the receivers at minimum. I like what I'm seeing from Pickett.
I do like that he got up and pushed that guy when he kind of hit him.
Yeah, he's got balls, and his teammates were all there for him. Like the squad is fired up for Kenny Pickett. I like the guy. I call him Smug Grease. You look at his picture, just grease, slick hair, a smug, just give me Smug Grease all day, baby. Love him.
One of my friends described him as looking like white trash, but a guy you'd probably like.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
I don't know. Very, very specific.
Yeah. I like it.
All right. Burning questions real quick. Allen against Mahomes. What a duel. Of course. I always am a little scared about these. I'm excited, but scared because it's like, our expectations are so high. And it's so rare. Things little, right? Yeah, I know. So, I mean, it's like I'm excited for it, but it's like I'm also like I'm primed to be let down. My expectations are really high. Jalen Hurts going against maybe his toughest test yet. It's going to be a great divisional battle. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Zach Wilson, mildly useful in back-to-back weeks. Can it continue? We'll see. The Jets beat the Dolphins 40-17.
3-2 right now. Week. Don't look now. JETS. I mean, shit. They're actually not horrible. What's weird?
I know. I hate it. Are actually a little bit better than I thought they would be. Although maybe they're not that good, but the records are okay. All right, let's get into running backs. Devin Singletary going at KC. You got him at 19. The experts have him at 22. I know you liked Singletary for quite a bit of this year.
It hasn't come through huge for me. Like last week, I was higher on him. He's one of my guys. 49% of the snaps because they blew him out. And so this is the trend I've noticed with Singletary dating back to late last year. In close games, the guy has played 73% or more of the snaps every single time. This year against Miami, 73% of the snaps, 24 fantasy points. Baltimore, 87% of the snaps, 12 fantasy points, and just barely missed getting a touchdown for 18. Then you look back to last year. To close out the year, he was 80% or more snaps in all but 2 games and was 71 and 78% in those. He was a top 12 running back every single one of those weeks but one. He had 24 or more fantasy points in half of those weeks. He was averaging 19.7, fourth most in the league if that was this year. He's the running back 2 in your fantasy playoffs. So in close games, they turn it over to Singletary. He absolutely smashed in those spots. Obviously against the Chiefs, you're looking at a close game. I think this is a big one for Singletary. I'm backing on the train this week. I'm doubling down after it. Even though last week he disappointed me, I'm back in this week.
All right, James Robinson at the Colts. The terrible, terrible Colts. You got him as your RB20. Experts have him down at 25. Been a little bit of, controversy as far as like who's going to get the carries in Jacksonville. Why do you like Robinson this week?
Yeah, I mean, Etienne's been outplaying him, starting to see his role increase. So I'm getting a lot of, can I still trust James Robinson? It is sketchy. 2.9, 5.9 in PPR leagues the last 2 weeks. But I don't want us to forget 19.9, 15.8, 20.6 to start the year. Was the running back 3 in fantasy before weeks 4 and 5. Obviously a scary low floor, but when the script is right, he has solid outings. He did already against the Colts with 16 points, was the running back 8 that week. I could see another solid game against that Indy team he already had a good day against. They suck. The Jags, though, they look like they suck too. So a little bit concerned if they're going to continue to be a team you can trust to get up and then feed Robinson. I'm still going to the well, though. I'm not abandoning him yet. He's looked really good. He's impressive. When the script is right, he does well. It doesn't happen against Houston. I get that narrative, too. Like, if you can't run the ball against Houston, when are you going to run it against anybody? But they did for 3 weeks to begin the year. I think they can refine that.
3 guys you got lower on. I just got to say going into it, I usually give you these one at a time. I'm going to give you all 3 of these because I actually agree with you wholeheartedly on all of them. J.K. Dobbins at the Giants. We talked about this a tiny bit already. RB23. The experts like him up at 20. Najee Harris at the Bucks, 24. They also like him 3 spots higher at 21. Where'd you have Najee Harris in before week 1?
He's actually down to running back 26 for me this week, too. I bumped him down, and Dobbins is down to 25. So
these are even bigger discrepancies than they were. Where did you have him at the beginning? What was
I had him as like a later second pick. Like he was not a first rounder for me. I tweeted out
something like that.
Probably running back like 10 or so, like second rounder. Yeah, I was low on him. He was my fave.
I was also low on him.
It went well for me.
Darrell Henderson also going against Carolina, RB 47. The experts like him all the way up at 33 for some reason. I agree with all 3 of these takes. real quick, why on these guys?
We'll get rid of Henderson first.
Yeah.
I just don't want anybody to consider starting him. The guy, he has played more snaps than Cam Akers in back-to-back weeks, but Akers took every single carry last week. It's a diminishing role. He hasn't had over 7 fantasy points in 3 straight games. Just why? There's no reason to trust him. Najee Harris, he also hasn't had more than 7.5 fantasy points across 2 weeks, and he hasn't topped 13.9 on the season. So his top effort was 13.9, was the running back 12 against New England. Other than that, it's been a whole lot of 10, 13, 7.4, and 6.6 going down by the week. And the big thing was Jaylen Warren continues to get more and more involved. In fact, he actually outsnapped Najee Harris last week. Yes, there was a blowout. Maybe that was part of it, but he hasn't looked healthy, and he especially has not been involved as a receiver. That was the whole thing with Najee. That was the floor. We got this guy getting targets out his ass. Second most targets in the league last year at the running back position. I think he's 15th to 20th, somewhere in that range in targets right now. If he doesn't have that part of the game, he is just meh. Terrible line, bad offense, not a ton of touchdown upside. It's just name value at this point. And then Dobbins hasn't played above 51% of the snaps all year. Last week against Cincinnati, 39%, 8 carries. Kenyon Drake saw more work. And then you got Justice Hill potentially returning. You're really banking on the only good efforts he had this year was one game against Buffalo. All the teams had 2 touchdowns, 22 points that week. Otherwise, he's been a lineup ruiner for you. So I don't know why he's ranked as a locked-in RB2. Sure, he's talented. Sure, it's a good offense. The team doesn't want to ever unleash him. If they weren't going to last week when, the Justice Hill was laid up, who he's splitting snaps with, they just made sure to get 2 other guys now more involved. So, yeah, I'm not into it at all. No, thank you.
Don't blame you. I've felt that way about the Ravens running backs since, I don't know, for 3 years probably. Yeah. Hail Mary, Tevin Coleman, Tyrion Davis-Price. I mean, obviously we both really like Jeff Wilson, but we did see Tevin Coleman hit pay dirt and get a couple nice plays in their last games. So I hear that.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns last week, 3 catches, 44 yards as well. The clear-cut backup, so it seemed, but Tyrion Davis-Price did return to practice this week. Last time he was out, he had 14 carries right alongside Jeff Wilson as a 1A, 1B situation. The fact that Wilson's been so impressive, I don't think it would ever become anything more than a clear number 2 behind him. But against Atlanta, whoever is that number 2, whether it's Coleman, whether it's Tyrion Davis-Price, we'll be reading the news. Me and CJ will cover for you guys who that ends up being. I think they're a viable Hail Mary. I think Wilson will do his thing just like he did last week. 100 yards, touchdown. I think it's happening. But I think after that fact, if they get a big early lead, another running back will get involved just like Coleman did last week. I think it'll be a very viable plug-and-play if you're needy at the position.
Also, Mike Boone, we talked about the Gordon Boone Denver backfield situation, 35% owned. Also, a potentially long shot, intriguing ad in Latavius Murray from the practice squad. He's 19%. I'm surprised he's actually as owned as that. But, these are guys that, Latavius Murray, we've seen him do stuff in the NFL before, so who knows? Obviously, a lot of this is snap-related, injury-related stuff like that. Obviously, there's value of owning part of the Denver backfield. And Boone's the next guy up after Gordon, and they actually were sharing some carries, so I see why you would use him as a Hail Mary.
I thought Boone looked really good. I know I've been down on the guy before after he just ruined my fantasy season a couple of years ago as a playoff smash start. Terrible. But he looked far more explosive. 7 carries, 38 yards, in addition to 3 catches for 47. Nice 10 PPR, half PPR, whatever their setting is. He hit 10 for you there. Now he gets the best matchup for running backs. It's so easy to block this D-line. The worst in the league, and Bosa looks like he's still going to be out. And don't forget that Mike Boone actually saw more second half snaps, 20 compared to 13 for Gordon. I think this coaching staff is ready to turn over the keys if Gordon fumbles, if he just comes out sluggish.
They do seem ready,
like Gordon. I like the revenge game narrative. I think he comes out and has himself a good, solid RB2 week, but wouldn't be shocked at all if he struggles early or if he fumbles. Mike Boone could hit featured work and a great matchup. So I like this guy as a potential flex for sure this week out there in a ton of leagues, at least as a stash to see what he does, but certainly as a play. Now, I do like on the watch list, Eno Benjamin, more than really most of the running backs I've talked about. Just want to reiterate the fact that Darrell Williams and Connor are going to be out. I could see 90% of the snaps and work going to Eno Benjamin this week. Last time out, 8 carries, 25 yards, in addition to 28 through the air, a touchdown, solid effort, played 30 of 31 snaps in the second half when those guys went out. fifth most fantasy points allowed to backs, the Seahawks. Think this guy's a great smash spot right in my top 20 running backs. The other watch list, just to keep us moving, truth is Ramondre Stevenson saw 90% of the snaps last week. Do we keep seeing that? Do they activate somebody to feature, outside of him? Either way, he's locked in your lineups. I think he's a little overrated in the fact that he's like top 5 in the expert rankings right now. I'm about 5 spots below that. I do consider him a top 10 play, but like above Joe Mixon. Some of these names he's above, I'm a little hesitant to go that big on him. The other guy I am just locking in is Ken Walker on the other side of Benjamin. How's the passing situation work? Does he get some of that work? He has had some plays drawn up for him. Either way, we saw 100% of the carries go to him, 58% of the routes in the second half once Rashad Penny was out. He's a beast, 88 yards and a touchdown on his 8 carries. I think this guy is like as talented, if not more so, than Dameon Pierce. I love that comparison from Dwayne McFarland over at the Matthew Berry Fantasy Life. He's a stud. And Kenneth Walker, this offense is even better. Remember, this offense is 7th in points per game right now, 4th in points per play. Sneaky, explosive offense here from the Seahawks, and a real good talent. I just can't wait to see what he does. I hope you emptied your waiver wire fab if he was out there for him. I know you didn't, Truth. You should be kicking yourself. This guy's
I ponied up a lot of money, man.
Not enough. You should have given it all to get this guy. This is going to be the waiver pickup of the year, but definitely one of the must watches of the week is how does he perform?
You can't take waiver money with you?
No.
You got to spend it? Okay.
You got to spend it. And this is going to be the pickup of the year.
Wide receivers, we'll see. Wide receivers, you got 2 guys you got a big discrepancy on. I always like hearing about those. One, not much of one, but we'll spend a little more time on the first ones. Isaiah McKenzie at KC, you got him at 29. The experts have him all the way down at 48, which is crazy. I'm starting him this week, I can tell you that. Also, along those same veins, Chris Olave at the Bengals, you got him at 17. The experts got him down at 29. Those are big discrepancies between those guys. Why do you think there's such a big gap between you and the pros, the supposed pros?
My guess for Olave is it might be injury related. I imagine that will come up somewhat throughout the week, but I would be shocked to see him enter the top 20. People are often cautious with these injuries, and if he doesn't play, then this is all wasted breath. But let's just keep in mind that this guy has put up 19, 15, 13 points, and 13 was in like just about 3 quarters, even less than that. Last week was seeing 38% targets on his routes before getting hurt last week. The guy's been a beast. He is number 1 in air yards, number 4 in air yard share, 754 air yards, 41% of his team's air yards on the season. He's also, though, number 15 in deep, number 1 rather, with 15 deep targets. He's also in the top 20 in red zone targets this year. I mean, he's getting so much money volume. So if Olave's out there with no MT, no Landry, the guy's an immediate, just no-brainer. Lock him into your lineup. So keep him in there. But McKenzie, I think this one I don't know why the experts are always so low on this guy. 18 and 10 in his last 2 games. Those 10 points were in just about a half of action. And I dug it up. So he saw 9 and 6 targets the last 2 weeks. He's only seen 6 or more targets 8 times in his career. He's averaged 15.4 fantasy points in those, just a beast in those situations. He's been a top 20 wide receiver in over half of the matchups where he's seen 6 or more targets. And against the Chiefs, I mean, they're going to be throwing early and often. We have Jamison Crowder on IR, so I think we're going to get McKenzie in a near 100% snap roll. Maybe Khalil Shakir off of a nice game last week. Maybe he plays that Crowder role and we get like a 60-40 split. Even so, I think McKenzie will feast, but especially if he gets 100% of the snaps, the Chiefs are bad. I mean, 9th in terms of Chiefs are bad against receivers. Shouldn't say a bad team. They're a good team. Obviously, one of the few good teams in the NFL right now, but bad against receivers, particularly vulnerable, intermediate range. I think McKenzie could have a feast this week. So 19 spots higher than the ECR and not batting an eye at it.
Another guy, Chris Godwin, you got him at 16. The experts have him at 19. It's not much of a discrepancy, but why do you like Godwin?
Facing the Steelers. I mean, lock it in anybody, but especially the slot receivers against Steelers. They're bad against everybody. Everybody's going to get theirs, but they're particularly bad, like historically bad against slot receivers this year, last year, and really just always against Tomlin. It's just a way he runs his defense for some reason. They don't defend slot receivers. We've seen Godwin play 43 of his 53 snaps in the first game he was back in the slot. Then the next game, he saw over half of his slot snaps again in the slot. He didn't play a ton. They kind of eased him back into the game, but the majority of those came in the slot yet again. So yeah, big fan of Chris Godwin this week. I think he's going to destroy the slot secondary there.
Lower, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle again facing Minnesota. Hill, you got at 14. The experts have him all the way up at 9. Waddle, you got at 20. The experts like him at 15. Why are you fading both of these guys?
Well, it being kind of an obvious and easy reason here is Skylar Thompson, whoever this quarterback is. I'm worried about him. I think he's going to tank the value of these guys till they're in. I think Bridgewater was good enough to sustain it. And yeah, the offense, it's dink, get it out of their hands, let the playmakers make their plays. So they could be okay. But last week, 6 points for Tyreek Hill in half PPR, wide receiver 41. Not a great effort with 47 yards, 7 catches. I guess at 10 in half PPR, 32, but still not a top 5 guy like he's locked into the rankings right now. And then Jalen Waddle, he's been kind of mediocre for 2 straight weeks now with 5 and 4 fantasy points. Again, steadily ranked in your top, like everybody has him in the top 10 right now. I don't know. Not a big fan. So yeah, a little bit lower on those guys due to the quarterback play.
Pittman against Jacksonville, you got him at 21. The experts like him up at 16. That's a decent discrepancy. Why are you a little lower on this guy?
He's had one good game this season.
Yep, that's why.
Against Houston, 9, 121, 23 fantasy points. Looked like the next great alpha. Since then, it's just been a whole lot of meh. 11, 5, and 8 fantasy points across his last 3 games. And the most damning stat I heard today, he's only seen 1 target that had more than 15 yards under it. Alec Pierce, meanwhile, is getting peppered deep, peppered intermediate, actually out-targeted him, outplayed him, outgained him in every single meaningful category last week. The Jags played well against Pittman last time out. I'm just worried about him. I don't know why everybody sees him as this clear-cut, locked-in starter. At wide receiver 21, yeah, you probably play him, but he's certainly worth questioning if you guys have questions on Pittman. Not fully in love with this guy this week.
Romeo Doubs, I really agree with this take. Also, going against the Jets, you got him at 40. The experts like him all the way up at 31. I would have a very hard time justifying a ranking that high from the experts. I even think 40 might even be a little bit too high. What do you think about him?
Yeah, the Jets have just actually been a sneaky good secondary this year. 2, Doubs, 3 catches, 29 yards, 4 points. It looked like he was on the verge, 17, 11, and then 4. Comes crashing back to earth. It looked like he kind of earned the trust of Rodgers, the target share, like he was a locked-in number 2. And then Cobb comes in after a week of the coach praising Cobb, saying we need to get him more involved, and eats 13 targets. He's actually my Hail Mary, so we can kind of hit Cobb there too at only 13% rostered. The coach wants him more involved. He was more involved, and he was really the heartbeat of this passing game last week. So, yeah, I prefer Doubs over Cobb in a vacuum. If I had them both, I'd play Doubs, but Doubs is getting ranked as like a locked flex play. And I think Rodgers, I don't know what it was that pissed him off, but something about Doubs last week. He got the cold shoulder from Rodgers, and it's just scary to know that can happen any given week.
Yeah, and Rodgers is such a moody little bastard.
Such a moody yeah.
Hail Mary, Rondale Moore, 7 catches on 8 targets for 68 yards in the Cardinals' Week 5 loss to the Eagles. He's only 36% owned, so I think that's a very viable Hail Mary, maybe even a step above Hail Mary. Anything to add on Moore there?
Yes, 63 of 69 snaps, 41 of 45 routes, 8 targets on the 38. So all high percentages that you love to see. We still got no more Hopkins. I think even when Hopkins is back, he's the locked-in slot role, which we saw for Dortch. Top 10 top 10 or more points in 3 of his 4 starts. And then Moore comes and walks right into 7 catches, 68 yards, over 10 points there too. Solid. And again, the Cardinals, most plays in the league, 72.2 snaps per game, given how bad their defense is. I think this game has it gets second highest total on the slate. Just ugly, but sexy at the same time shootout potential in this game. So give me all the pieces I can. In addition to him, I love Alec Pierce. He's now up to 34% rostered, 8 catches, 81 yards. First game over 50% route share. Saw 75% of the routes and really thrived, pacing the team in all meaningful categories. I think that number continues to go up after 9, 12, and 16 fantasy points across his last 3. Another 15-plus effort could be there. And I already mentioned Cobb, 13 targets. I wouldn't be shocked to see another 10 targets or so, even though he's ran less routes, played less snaps than Doubs. When he's in, Rodgers trusts him. He's a go-to guy for the move and the chains. I think we could see another decent effort here against the Jets. They're good on the outside with Sauce Gardner, good outside corners. They're more susceptible over the middle. So I'm intrigued to see what Cobb does there too.
All right, real quick, guys, we're watching Gabe Davis coming back to KC. 4 touchdowns last time. Plus also, how does McKenzie look in his return? Also, will Christian Kirk and Drake London rebound? Great questions. Real quick, Kyle threw us a couple bucks, and he's got a question that pertains to Thursday Night Football. Real quick, Travis Etienne, Brian Robinson, or Eno Benjamin, PPR. I think I know who you're going to say, but what are you going to say?
So we got Travis Etienne, Brian Robinson, or Eno. I'm going Eno, especially in PPR. Definitely got some upside there with the pass catching ability. definitely a better matchup, a better overall offense. So yes, I like Robinson, the player, better than any. I like maybe Etienne's probably the best player here, but now give me Benjamin, the best role, the best offense that out of these three, and certainly the best matchup. Seattle giving up the 5th most points to back, 2nd most yards on the year, other than only Houston. So great smash spot for Eno Benjamin with those other 2 starters ahead of him injured. I'm going to go there. You in agreement?
I am in agreement, and I thought you would say that. It's like I've known you forever. Wolf, mow through the tight ends. We got a huge mailbag, so we can hit maybe at least a couple of the mail questions together. We got a lot of people. We got about 100 people in here watching right now, which is
awesome.
nice. It's a good live.
That just makes me smile. Thank you guys.
Good live crowd.
So much for being out here. It does help us greatly. If you hit that thumbs up button, if 100 of you out there, please give us that solid thumbs up here. Help us get out to more people. Consider subscribing if you like the show, because we do go live many times a week, 4 times a week. We answer all your questions. I'm going to mow through these tight ends, get to the mailbag. We'll hit as many as we can. Guaranteed answers for super chats and call-ins also as well. But we'll get to my tight ends. I'm higher on Taysom Hill. Only, I think he's about 55% roster now, but still should be closer to 100% because
that's right, Dave. Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill, 112 yards, 3 touchdowns, also threw a touchdown as well. He is the tight end 3 in half PPR leagues. He is exactly 1 target on the year. Such a weird, atypical role, but the guy is a huge part of the offense, and they quote unquote expect him to remain.
He's the tight end 3, I'm pretty sure.
He is the tight end 3, 1 target on the year, and he's the tight end 3. Fucking nuts. It is boomer bust, 15, 1, 0, 8.1, and then, of course, 34.6 in his next explosion. But truly, at tight end.
But even the 8.1 makes him a really, really viable fantasy starter, and that's his 2nd lowest outing. The only time
1
he scored
and 0, or is the 2
he had 1 and 0. I thought it was just
so bad. But still, so many tight ends have that 0 or boom or bust floor. Why not go for one of the only ones that genuinely has a 30-point ceiling, as we just saw? So I like firing him up. I'm a little bit lower. I'd rather have Taysom Hill than, let's say, Gerald Everett, who's only been about a 60% snap player as is. And then Donald Parham comes back, gets the red zone work ahead of him. That's really what the thesis behind Everett was. Good offense, good red zone work. He did get 1 red zone targets this week, but Parham saw more, and 1.2 coming off that game. Keenan Allen might even be back. I think Everett in a few weeks is going to be cut bait. So I'm a little bit nervous about starting him. Hail Marys. I love Will Dissly, 22% rostered. Best matchup for tight ends. Arizona gets smashed. The only better matchup would be Seattle. So I think Zach Ertz smokes tight end, smokes Seattle, the most points allowed to the position. But next up is Arizona. And Dissly himself, 13, 12, 13. 3 of his 5 starts have been very, very viable, have been top 10 on the season. Good red zone volume throughout the year. I think he scores, has a nice day against them. And we mentioned Cade Otton earlier, ran 94% of the snaps, 87% of the routes, 6 for 47, clearly flashed some nice chemistry with Tom Brady. Brate is back, so I don't really want to go to Cade Otton unless I'm truly, truly desperate. Go to Dissly first. But I do think this guy brings a lot more to the table and has more long tail upside than Dissly too.
All right. That's it.
Oh, and then the watch list. Kittle, does he get it together? He's facing Atlanta. It's kind of now or never time for Kittle. He has to get it done this week, and I think he does. And does Hurst continue his hot 2-game stretch? We will see. I love his role in this offense, though. A great play every single week. All righty, Wolfpack. Thank you again for your patience as we mowed through the tight ends. I should have the banner up. My bad, Tunes. But thank you again for your patience as we get here. Let's hit this loaded mailbag, starting, though, with our call-ins.
Our call-ins. Our call-in. What's up, David?
What's going on, guys? So quickly, MT on NFL.com is not listed as out yet, and neither are James Conner. So I'm just curious if what you guys would do in today's scenario. Like, are one of them droppable to grab like an Eno or something, or another wide receiver? Because MT, who knows if he's going to even want to play anymore.
How are they not ruled out yet? Yeah, that's a pain in the ass. I would drop your kicker. Honestly, drop your kicker, pick up Eno, wait for one of them to get ruled out to move to the IR. And then you can pick a kicker up from there. That's the way you play it.
Perfect. I appreciate that.
Much smarter answer than I would have given you.
Truth, you're the only person that could put 2 people on the sidelines in 2 weeks. And
you guys pressured me last week. I made my pick, and I said Kyle Pitts, and then you guys were like, oh, that's not good enough. And then Pitts was ruled out. I mean, I did it.
So just your official mush of the week, and I'll let you go.
Oh, man.
All righty. Truth. Mush of the week, David. Thanks for the call-in. Sending you on your way. Cheers.
Oh, God.
You want to think it through while I pull
Darnell Mooney.
Darnell. Yeah, well, he's going to fucking suck anyways. Give us a better mush. I'm going to answer a few questions while you think of a mush. And then give me the thumbs up when you're ready for your
Michael Pittman.
Michael Pittman. Okay. So lower alongside me. Craig Sarno. Good to see you, brother.
All right. Half point PPR, need a wide receiver to flex. Jerry Jeudy, Pickens, Alec Pierce, and Eno.
So we got to go Eno. Like I said, very, very high on him. And then of the receivers, it comes down to actually Pierce versus Pickens for me. I'm not into Jeudy. I'm not into the Broncos at all. I'm going to lean Pickens. He's been the leader in yardage in both of the starts for Pickett. Pierce is real close for me, though. What about you?
I would say I would probably go Pierce over him, if I'm being honest.
Okay. Deal.
Yeah.
And you're locking in Eno, too.
Yes, I am. Charlie says, making locker room karma play, giving Brian Robinson the start over Dylan. You're welcome to all the other Dylan owners when he scores 2 touchdowns on my bench this season. Yeah.
Congrats to you, Dylan's owners. Make sure to start him with him on Charlie's bench. For the record, I'd go Robinson over Dylan, too, though. Definitely locker room karma. He earns the start. You put him in there over Dylan, in my opinion.
I have Dylan on my bench, and I'm not expecting him to score any touchdowns.
No. 28% of work last week. How can you trust him?
Do I start Curtis Samuel tonight or wait for Keenan Allen? His hammy injury scares me. Or Mike Thomas, who missed practice today as well. I would start Samuel personally.
I think I just start Samuel. Yeah, those guys are scary. I'd like to see him get through a game before I trust either of those folks. So, yeah, Y2J, I'm going those guys.
It's like David said. Mike Thomas might just decide.
Yeah, give me Curtis Samuel. He's a good enough option in my opinion.
I'm also thinking of starting Brian Robinson this week. He's very TD or bust, though. So he gets no receptions. That's true.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a touchdown, at least one, maybe even two.
Wolf, drop one for buys. Mike Williams, Godwin, Olave, Hollywood. You got to drop one of these guys.
Drop one of these guys. What the fuck?
Come on, you got to keep all these guys.
You got to keep them all. Drop your kicker and don't play a kicker for some fucking reason. Like, you can't drop any of those guys. They're way too damn good. If you had to drop one, gun to my head, I would probably say Godwin. I don't know. Because he's just the biggest risk to get re-injured, I guess. But I agree,
but I'm not. I'm trying to hang on to all those guys.
Yes.
I mean, are you really going to pick anybody up on waivers that's going to make you feel half as good as any of those guys?
No way.
RB2, PPR, Brian Robinson, Zeke, Coleman, McKinnon, or Dylan. Aaron Jones is my RB1.
I'm going Brian Robinson there. No doubt about it, So Tony. That's a good spot to fire him up. Get yourself a little Thursday night action here.
And he says, what a team. He agrees with us.
Yeah.
He agrees. Ryan Hemmings says, smash the like, of course.
Thank you.
RTK 137, streaming quarterbacks. It's rough out there. Wolf knows about that. 6-point passing touchdown, serious need of upside. Wentz, Jimmy G, or Daniel Jones? The Wolf was scrolling through a few of these guys in a text that we were sharing the other day.
Yeah, if you're in serious need of upside, it's Wentz. We've seen him get over 20 fantasy points in 3 of his 5 starts. Obviously, the floor is cavernous, so like if he goes out and shits his pants and gets you negative points tonight and you break your TV, don't hold me liable. But you're telling me you want upside? Wentz has by far the highest ceiling here. Jimmy G's my typical play in this scenario, higher floor, but much lower ceiling. So if you need upside, like you said, Wentz is the best bet for like 303 here. So yeah, shoot for the moon. I love the context there. Thank you, RTK. I go Wentz if you need the upside.
Yep.
All righty.
Monty, Walker, or J-Rob at flex.
Oh,
it's half point.
Walker.
Half point PPR if that matters. I don't think it does, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going Kenny Walker there. I like Kenneth Walker there.
Okay. Hemmings, very good. What the defense should I use? Pats, Washington, or the Bears?
Kind of like the Bears tonight, but they suck though. I go Pats. Better defense.
Pats pitching a shutout last week.
Yeah. Browns are much better though, but yeah, I'm going to go Pats there.
Pick 2, please. Rondell Moore, Isaiah McKenzie, and Etienne. You got to start McKenzie.
McKenzie's my favorite of the bunch. I'm with you there, Truth. I think I'm going to go Rondale Moore in a full PPR too. One more week without Hopkins, shootout style matchup against a bad defense. Etienne had a nice week, but he's going to be so game script dependent. I'd like to see him more often.
Is this kickoff at 8:15 or 8:20?
I think 8:20. So
okay. We still got a little time. All right, Sarah Riley. I love when Sarah tunes in. Defense, I have Chicago, but should I pivot to Jacksonville, Washington, New Orleans, or Minnesota?
I actually like Jacksonville and Minnesota more. I like Jacksonville probably a bit more. They smoked the Colts the first time they faced him, and now they're at home. Yeah, I like them.
I agree with you. Dan Dwyer, evening fellas, need to stream a QB this week. Fields or Wentz tonight?
I go Wentz over Fields very slightly. It's scary. It's sketchy. I don't know if either pan out for you, but hey, get that action. Good luck, Danny.
Olave or Kenneth Walker if Olave is healthy? PPR.
Ooh, that's brutal. I like Olave. I mean, we've seen the track record. He's gotten it done. Huge fan of Walker, but I'm not benching Olave in a PPR league if I have him, especially with all those other guys out. So, yeah, I'm going Olave. What about you, Truth? Olave versus Walker. Yeah, I agree. Wow.
Evan Buss, do you like Tony Pollard or Brian Robinson this weekend?
My man, Buss. I'm going Robinson there, buddy.
Definitely. What's up, fellas? Great to see you. F Dallas, go Birds. Denny, you are allowed to be on your high horse right now.
Yeah,
Mr.
you are allowed.
Should I start Hayden Hurst and just cut Schultz PPR?
I would definitely start Hayden Hurst this week. I don't know that I'd cut Schultz just because he is, Dak's boy, and Dak's probably back as early as next week, in which case Schultz could be right back to a top 5 tight end. Very rare source of volume, in my opinion. I wouldn't cut him unless you're real desperate.
I'm willing to deal Mike Williams before Keenan Allen is back. Thoughts? I mean, my thoughts would be being willing to deal him is great. You got to get a return, though. Mike Williams has value with or without Keenan Allen.
Yeah, sell high means sell high. If you're going to sell, make sure you get the valid price because Williams, like you said, good with or without Allen, certainly better without him. But yeah, I wouldn't be selling him for no reason. I'll tell you that.
Robinson or Eno Benjamin this week.
Did we get this one? Oh yeah, we got Eno Benjamin over Travis.
I'm pretty sure we hit all the super chats.
We hit all the super chats so far, and a guaranteed answer for super chat. We got about 15 minutes till kickoff. I'll go rapid fire, but you want a good in-depth answer? Hit us with the super chat. It'd be a great help. We got one. Speaking of super chats from our man Bulldog.
10-team PPR. Would you drop Mike Gordon for Tony Pollard?
I'm guessing it's Melvin Gordon. I don't know.
I meant Melvin Gordon. I'm sorry,
but no, I don't think I would, just because he's more of the featured back here. So yeah, I'm gonna go Melvin Gordon over Pollard, just because I think he could be a featured back the rest of the year. Pollard's upside, if it's just a bench guy though, if something happens to Zeke, is still so sky high. So try to get him if you can, in my opinion.
Melvin Gordon.
I would have Melvin
not to be confused with Mike Gordon, basis for fish.
We got this one too, right? Benjamin.
We got it. I'm telling you, I've been on it.
All right, just making sure here. And we left off.
Chris.
Yeah, we probably need to rapid fire this thing at Chris. We got to Chip Duvall, Brian Robinson, or Eno. I'm going Eno Benjamin. I'm going to rapid fire it up. Okay. Truth. Let me know if you see any super chats down at the bottom. All right. Pull them up if you do. And if you hear me say anything egregious, definitely disagree. Wolfpack, while I rip through these rapid fires again, one last plea. It does help us out so much. I haven't checked YouTube how many we have out there. But man, we got so many of you with us. Help us get out to more people. Hit that thumbs up button, like, shares, retweets, all that good stuff would be so greatly appreciated. Thanks again so much for being here. Let me rapid fire this up for you and hopefully get to all your questions. Guaranteed answer, though, for Super Chat if you need it. 5-0. Love to hear that, Chris. Great to see. Brian Robinson, Kareem Hunt, literally 23-24 for me. I go Hunt very slightly, Jimmy, but man, if you really want to just get some action tonight, again, 23-24, it's damn close. I do like Robinson a lot tonight. Standard League, Corey Davis. Or drops Corey Davis for Josh Palmer? I mean, shit for shit. Don't really care there for either one. Nah. Kareem Hunt versus Patriots. The only reason, Kristen, this would matter is if you have Keenan Allen, you're waiting for Monday night to see if you can play him. Otherwise, I don't want to play either of those guys. Kareem Hunt versus Patriots or Robin Hood tonight. I'm guessing that means Robin Hood. Again, Jimmy, I don't know. 23-24, I slightly lean Kareem Hunt. I'm 4-1 thanks to Josh Jacobs. What an absolute monster he is, Robert Moreno. 100% there. You're welcome, Michael, as well. Pick 2 receivers, Gabe Davis, Chris Godwin, Pittman. I'm going to go the first 2, Gabe and Godwin for me, for sure. Jeff Wilson or David Montgomery. I'm going to go Jeff Wilson, very slightly joker. Just love that Atlanta matchup. To drop Gibson and grab Edmonds or Eno Benjamin? Eno Benjamin, yes. Edmonds, no. He's useless. Thankfully, I do not have any players tonight. Yeah, hopefully most of you don't. But I'm glad you're still watching anyways, Richard, and I appreciate your support. You are great as well, my man.
Thanks,
Samuel or Walker? Definitely going Walker, unless that's Debo Samuel. I'm guessing it's Curtis Samuel. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't be a question. But if it's Debo, you go Debo. If it's Curtis, you go Kenneth Walker. Should I trade St. Brown and Mike Williams for Chase?
No,
that's too much. Too much, grind.
Way too much.
Jags defense is a start this week, absolutely, against the Colts. Raheem or Scary Terry? Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going to play Olave for sure. So he's definitely in. So is JT. You're definitely playing those guys. I think if Scary Terry makes it so you can't play one of those guys, then you go Raheem as your backup plan. But if Scary Terry versus Raheem is the straight up here, I think I still go Raheem Mostert. What about you, Truth?
I would in the straight up go Raheem Mostert.
All right, that's a tough one, but yeah, we both lean there. Play 2, Pollard, A.J. Dillon, Brian Robinson. I think I'm benching Dillard in this one. Tough question there.
Gary.
Good to see you, Gary. Another great Thursday night indeed. Great might be an overstatement for this game, but it's football. We can't complain, right? Mostert or Sanders this week? I go Sanders, better offense, better just overall production. That's close. I'd have him 16 and 17. I don't know. kind of actually like Mostert the more I think about it. Dak will get the ball a lot too because the defense just hoping. Yeah, I think he's a great play the rest of the season. I'm with you. Switch to first shift, so I'll be able to make it more often, sir. Love to see that, Chris.
Love it, Chris.
Good to see you back, my man. Lamar is my starter, but I've had Dak stashed on my IR for 3 weeks after his manager. Good shit, Robert. Question for the truth. He's playing me in our family league, my abysmal. That's the worst league by far for me. I don't know how I just suck so bad every year. But this is for you. Running back 2. Gibson, Hines, White, or McKinnon in a 16-team league. It's bad for all of us. Yeah.
Katie, you're killing me. First of all, I really hate those options. I can tell you do too. I really don't want to let you down. Well, I wasn't ready for this. I really don't want to let you down here. I guess I would go gun to my head, McKinnon.
There you go. I'm not answering it. Fuck that, Katie. If T. Higgins sits, would you play Pickens?
You're not allowed to be mad at me if that's not right. Those are
MVS. I go Pickens here, Tunes. Pick 2, Dylan, MVS, Robinson, or White. Robinson and probably Dylan there, but don't love it. Should I trade CD and Gordon for Debo? No, I wouldn't. CD's right up there, so no, I wouldn't do that. Making bad decisions playing Gibson and St. Brown. Don't play St. Brown. Come on, Jeremiah. We got to be able to find something better. Rewind to the Hail Marys. Don't play St. Brown. Gibson, no Gibson either. We got to find better options, Jeremiah. Don't do either. Please, put him on the bench. Come on. No bad decisions, Jeremiah. Stop that shit. 10-team league. Drop Gordon for Pollard. No, Bulldog. I would not do that. Unless you're just, like you said, you're just going strictly for upside, but London, Dylan, Pollard, Rashad White. I'm guessing this is not in our league, Katie. I'm going to go RB2 Pollard and flex London. What's up, Wolf? Projected to win. Eno or Mike Williams? I'm still going Mike Williams there. Eno is definitely safer, though, if you're projected to win. So see how you're feeling at 4. But, yeah, I like Eno Benjamin if you need just floor, which is kind of crazy. I hate cutting Allen Robinson. It felt so good.
Man, I hope I do right by her. She seems awesome.
Yes.
Cutting Allen Robinson and so on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can't rate your lineup. Sorry, not enough time. Wentz or Geno? Geno for sure. Geno, absolutely. Brian Robinson could definitely be the play, but I would go either of those other 2, Eno or Clyde, over him. Wilson, Monty, or B-Rob? I'm going Jeff Wilson, 909. Good to see you. Bro, I have no choice but to start Cam Akers or Brian Robinson. Definitely Brian Robinson, JJ, right? For sure. Henry and Swift. So, yeah, go Robinson. I think he could definitely get you a touchdown. B-Rob, Dobbins, or Dylan? I'm going B-Rob, baby. How do we feel about streaming Chicago D? Could be a good play. My top 10 defenses this week. Shad White or B. Robinson? Yeah, I would rather have Robinson. He's the starter right now, but man, I don't want to drop White, one of the best handcuffs, maybe the best handcuff. Let's get those likes up, Wolfpack. Thank you, Tunes. Definitely would be so appreciated, Wolfpack. D. Cook owner, should I have Madison drop Herbert? Yeah, Herbert's kind of useless. Won't stream defense. Yeah, they suck. So I'm not like saying they're a great play, but number 10 for me. I'm not doing a trade question. Sorry, John Stewart. Too many questions here to get through before kickoff. Mediocre Washington's got weapons. So, yeah, I think they'll be average. I'm with you there. Also need to roster Jameson Williams. I definitely think you should. They're saying he's probably going to be activated after the bye. I'm going to go David Njoku over Pitts. I have to start Curtis Samuel and B-Rob. Not a bad place to be, JJ. I think they're good options. What do you think, chat? Devontae for Hollywood B and Gibson? Devontae Adams for me there. Gibson's complete and utter trash at this point.
Absolutely.
Need a trade. I can't do trade targets. Bad trade. JT and Brian Robinson. I'm definitely going JT there, Marty, tonight. I'm going to keep going because a lot of people are interacting. I love that, but I'm going to go to the questions I see. Take him over JT or James Robinson. JT for me. Dak Prescott is on my waiver wire. Do I pick him up? You have Lamar. You don't really need it, but you could block your opponent.
You referred to him as Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I love the big cock for Dak Prescott. Michael Thomas or Curtis Samuel? It's got to be Curtis Samuel, Crusader, because we don't even know if Mike Thomas is going to play. Sutton must start. Yeah, I think he is. Just the volume, as bad as that offense is, not a must start, but he's top 17 for me. So you have to do go DK and Lockett. Always Fatty Mateo. This Geno feeds them. This is a good offense. It's back to it's as if they have Russ still.
Like you like them both over CEH.
Yes, I do. I like them both.
Okay.
B-Rob, Dobbins, or Dylan. That's a repeat, but I'm going to go B-Rob. I'm going to put that in timeout because we've just gotten that one a bunch, ABC. So please don't repeat. Cam Akers or Brian Robinson. I'm going Brian Robinson, no doubt. Michael Gallup, Rondell Moore, or Isaiah McKenzie. McKenzie for me. B-Rob or Kareem Hunt. We keep getting that one. 23 and 24 for me. I have Kareem Hunt just slightly higher, but if you want the action, you can go B-Rob. Play Terry tonight? You could. Depends on the other options, but he's in my top 25. Mostert or Miles Sanders? I'm going Mostert. Very close. People really seem to hate Deontay. I don't think it's justified as all. He's getting the volume still. McKenzie or Pickens? I'm going McKenzie very, very slightly. Do I still play Tyreek Hill? Probably, but it depends on your options there. I can't do a trade, sadly. McLaurin or Jeff Wilson? I'm going Jeff Wilson there.
Wilson.
Definitely drop Edmonds. Cobb, maybe. If you got to use him, then yes. Carson Wentz. No, I still keep Stafford for the bench. If you're just going for bench, it's upside. Who is must start tonight? We did a whole preview. Rewind it to the beginning, Tino. I need to pick one for a 12-man. Rondale Moore, Isaiah McKenzie, Michael Gallup. I'm going McKenzie there. Carson Wentz. I don't even know what we were talking about there. Flex random Scary Terry, Olave and JT. Yeah, we're going Olave and JT over Scary Terry. Monty or Eno. I'm going to go Monty very, very slightly. Samuel, MT, Isaiah McKenzie, Ayuk for wide receiver 2. I like Curtis Samuel, but McKenzie's real damn close there. Mostert would be my flex, but I'm going to play Curtis Samuel tonight, though. Pitts or Taysom, half PPR. Taysom, yeah. Honestly, great. What a world we live in, huh? Schultz or Taysom Hill, rest of season. Taysom Hill. The upside's too big. We rostering Jameson Williams. Yes. Jameis Winston, no. But yes, definitely stashing that upside. Who to start, Disley or Hayden Hurst? It's Hayden Hurst for me. Play Terry tonight. Again, who's the other option, Krenna? McKenzie or Tyreek? Tyreek still. I mean, come on, it's Tyreek.
It's Tyreek.
Justin Herbert or Carson Wentz? Definitely Justin Herbert. Come on now. Last one, Eno or Jeff Wilson? Jeff Wilson for me, 909. Dobbins or Najee? Don't love either, but I like Najee just a little bit more. Eno or Mike Williams? Mike Williams, unless you need the safety of Eno. Robinson tonight. I like Robinson a lot tonight. I talked about him earlier. Enjoy the games. Go Birds. Got a good feel about my bad decisions. I don't, Jeremiah. Let's go. Hurts or Geno? I'm going to go Hurts, 100%. Yeah, you never bench Jalen Hurts. Let's get it, 909, 100%. Go Cowboys, Denny Jennings. I love the trash talk. James Robinson or Zeke? I'm going J-Rob. McKinnon, D. Henderson, T. Coleman, or Kelly? Oh, boy. Coleman, as long as he's the number 2. But if not, I go McKinnon very slightly. Muchas gracias. Good to see you, Crusader. Gabe Davis and Devonta Smith. I go Gabe Davis, but I'd love them both. Jeremiah will be there. Birds, baby. Go to the game. Sunday Night Football. Denny Jennings must be quite a sight. Robinson or Gordon? I'm going Melvin Gordon. Samuel or McKenzie? I'm going Samuel. All righty, folks. Thank you so much, Wolfpack. What a show. Almost 100 of you live for a lot of the show. On the way out, that thumbs up would mean the world. Subs, if you haven't, help us grow. Would be so appreciated. Check out all our content at rowstreetjournal.com. This will be podcast as well, the Fantasy Fullback Dive, where we also breed and feed and pave your path. All that good stuff. You guys are the best, though, Wolfpack. This Thursday show has become one of our highlights of the week. So thanks again so much for tuning in. Again, thumbs up, likes, hearts, retweets, wherever you're at to close us out here. And again, rowstreetjournal.com. We breed and feed you wolves. And a Wolf of Fantasy Sheep, be the Wolves guy. Best of luck. Hope we get it right. Hope you get all you need. Let's fucking feast Brian Robinson, baby. Cheers. Enjoy the game.